So I got this comment on my YouTube channel when I was, or actually, I have a subscriber who's been following my channel, drive-along videos and so on. And they made a comment. They noted that I only keep my controls when I'm in the car at 70, and I always keep it on auto. This isn't always the case. Mostly I keep it on auto, but you can see here, the window is pretty fogged up, okay? Now, I could keep it on auto, but unfortunately, what happens is, even though the HVAC system is pretty smart on its own, it doesn't exactly know, hey, you've got frost on your windshield. It takes into consideration things like temperature and sunlight to make its determination where exactly it needs to go. And what I've found is that it will stay at feet or a combination of feet and defroster for most of the time, so it does take longer to clear up the window. So in this case, with it being like it is, I will actually turn it to defrost, which automatically defaults the automatic system to full, as you can hear now. Okay, so now it's blowing air out as fast as it can, but it's not taking temperature into consideration. When you have it on auto for zone and auto for fan speed, and you have a temperature set, it waits until the air coming out of the vents is at that temperature before it starts ramping up the fan to blow that air out, because there's no point when it's 30, 20, 10 degrees out blowing out that 30, 20, 10 degree air into the cabin. You're not doing yourself any good at all. And another comment that was made is that my air conditioning button and my recirculator are mixed up. Yes, that's my fault. The last time that I had this thing open and I was redoing the LEDs, I just swapped those by accident. But I know myself which one's which. This is actually the air conditioning. This one is the recirculator. But you'll notice that the air conditioning is actually on. And the point in that is to reduce the humidity inside the cabin to allow the frost to go away that much quicker. But there's absolutely no point in having the fan blowing at top speed when it's blowing out just a bunch of cold air, when it can just be slowly working at getting rid of that moisture, that humidity in the cabin while the engine's warming up, and then it slowly brings the fan up to speed. As the air starts getting warmer and warmer and warmer, it brings it in until it hits this temperature, and then it brings the fan back down to stabilize the temperature. So yeah, I mean, that's what I do. I've actually received the comment, why don't I keep this at 90 all the time? Well, it doesn't warm any faster at 90, and you're taking away the whole point in having the electronic climate controls, because you're basically blowing cold air into the system until, well, basically until the thing warms up. And then once it hits 90, you're still blowing 90 degree air into your cabin. Then if it's too hot, you bring the temperature down or whatever. But I've always been comfortable with 70 degree weather, or 70 degree air. So I let the system do the work, and what I have actually found is that it's faster to just keep it on auto and on auto, with the exception of clearing the front window. I just keep it on auto for both of them, and I found that actually a lot faster it gets warmer inside, because it's only throwing the warm air into the cabin. It's not throwing a whole bunch of cold air, because you might as well, at that point, if you've got this set at 90 and you just started your car and it's 10 degrees out, you might as well just roll your windows down, because all you're doing is taking cold air from the outside and blowing it in until the motor warms up and the coolant is actually able to flow through and start heating up the air where the fan is actually pulling it from. So in my Comp G, I did not have this set up, and it would be annoying to have it turned all the way up, and he'd sit there freezing to death for much longer Whereas this just slowly lets the air just kind of get warmer and warmer and warmer, and you don't feel that air blowing on you. So yeah, I mean, that, I don't know what else to say about it. I've always had it set at 70. My wife, for some reason, when she's in the car, it's always too hot for her, so she turns hers way down to like 63 or 64, even in the dead of winter. And for, I don't know why, but anytime she's outside of the car, she's always freezing cold. So I have never understood that. But the great thing is that I can stay at 70 where I'm comfortable. She can stay at 63 or 65 or whatever, wherever she's comfortable. We're both happy. She never touches my side, I never touch her side. We're good to go. So that is one of the advantages to having this system. Now, it's not perfect. It's not like there's an imaginary window that's between us, because sometimes when I'm really cold and I've got mine cranked and she's got hers down, she'll complain that it's still hot. You know, that's nothing that can really be prevented, because you're taking two people who are, you know, basically really close at elbow reach, and sharing the air. So yes, it does a really good job of keeping the air at the temperature that either I want or she wants or the passenger wants. It does a really good job of that, but it's not perfect, and it would never be perfect. So the comments I always get about the dual zone climate control is, wow, so you can have it set at your temperature and the passenger can set at their temperature and everybody's happy. Yes, for the most part, that is true. But when there's a big variation, like if I've got mine at 90 and she's got hers at 60, when there's that kind of variation, you know, the hot air from my side is obviously going to roll over to her side, and that's just the way it is. Hot air has more energy, and so it's going to knock all the molecules around and it's going to heat her side up. So that's just something that we have to deal with. But I've been kind of getting off on a tangent here. The point is that I keep mine at 70 all the time. And in this case, where I'm actually warming up the front window, I have it set to defrost the front window. And before I start my trip, I'll set it back to auto. That is when the window is completely clear. And you might say, oh, that's kind of pointless. Why would you have it, this one on auto then if it's going to run at full speed? Well, that's just the way that they designed it. You know, I honestly don't know why they designed it like that, other than it's trying to take out as much of the moisture in the air as possible. That's my guess. Somebody can chime in as far as, you know, there's very specifics on that. But I do know that my parents had an Intrepid. It was a 2000 Intrepid or a 99. And when they had their set on auto and defrost, it would keep the fan down at a very low level until the motor warmed up, and then it would slowly raise it up. Whereas this doesn't do that. It just automatically ramps the fan all the way up to maximum. But I will say that as it does warm up and approach this temperature, it does seem to slow the fan down a little bit, but not that much. But if I put it on auto, then it should bring the fan back down, which my front window is almost clear, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And you can probably hear it's actually staying about the same, but that's just because it's reached this, the motor has reached this temperature, so it's trying to fill the cabin, at least on my side, it's trying to fill the cabin up to 70 degrees. So now that the air coming out is 70, it's trying to do that as quick as possible. So anyway, cool. If you have any other questions, let me know, but that's basically just me. That's why I keep it at 70, because 70 is the temperature that I like, and even in the summer, I keep it at 70. Yeah, I might turn it down 68 or 67, but for the most part, I keep it at 70. Take care, guys.